Welcome to Chapter 2. Last week, Chapter 1 provided a good introduction to the subject of networking. We saw the view of the network from the nuts and bolts perspective of layers and protocols. In subsequent chapters, we'll go into more details on these layers. We also talked about viewing the internet from a different angle, but something that you are more familiar with. Applications where we view the internet as an infrastructure to provide services for applications. This week, we will examine the application layer. Here is the chapter outline. By studying this layer, we will see both the infrastructure and services perspective of networking. We'll examine 4 application protocols that you are familiar with: web, email, the domain name system, and peer-to-peer. If you are interested and have a little extra time, you may also want to read the optional section on video streaming. This week, we will see how an application in one system works using the protocols to send information to an application across the network to be processed in another system. 3 of the applications we will study are applications of this: web, email, and peer-to-peer. The other application we will study, the domain name system, or DNS, is an example of the internet as an infrastructure providing services to another application. Although users make use of DNS, it is more a supporting application, as it is needed by other applications for translating host names to IP addresses. Hence, it is part of the infrastructure and the platform the internet provides. There are a number of concepts in this chapter to look out for. In particular, what is stateful versus stateless, and non-persistent versus persistent? What is proprietary versus open, and what is in-band versus out-of-band? What is pipelining in network apps? What is a push app versus what is a pull app? And for DNS, what is an alias versus a canonical host name? Finally, what are the advantages and disadvantages of these concepts? For example, you will learn details about HTTP. You will find that HTTP is stateless and in-band. It is an open protocol whose default mode uses a persistent connection with pipelining. It is mainly a pull protocol, in contrast to the SMTP mail server, which is primarily a push protocol. What are sockets and ports, and how do they relate to applications? You are gaining experience with these in Programming Assignment 1. When you finish this chapter, you should be able to explain what these terms mean and what they involve, including the distinction between the network and the application architecture. So read the sections in the chapter and look at the related videos. Then do the chapter quiz, the chapter problem set, and your journal. You have 2 labs to complete: 1 Wireshark and 1 Mininet. Use the provided Wireshark traces for Lab 2. Check the lab write-up. Finally, you will need to turn in Programming Assignment 1.